Hey, Charlotte, so good to have you. Thank you so much.
Hi.
So, I would love for you just to tell us a little bit about yourself. Take us back a couple years ago. What were some of the things that you were struggling with in your nutrition journey in the past?
Yeah, so it was 2 years ago. I'm not sure if I knew it was my nutrition. I think the neatest thing is that I wasn't feeling good about myself and I knew I needed some form of help. I'm not sure it was clear to me what type of help. And then, by serendipity, it was serendipitous that you were starting your business and I couldn't wait to sign up because I just appreciated the structure that you bring to your life, which I knew I needed. From a nutrition perspective, I probably wasn't as structured as I should have. Or I guess it's not even necessarily structure. I didn't know how to pair things together to get the best performance for my body. So I just didn't feel good. I wanted to feel better. We had a lot of outside circumstances influencing that when we started together.
And like you said, it's so interesting how changing one piece of your life positively can ripple into so many other aspects
Yeah.
of your life.
I could have easily gotten overwhelmed by the information that we were talking about. And as you know, I didn't hear it necessarily for this first 6 months because of other obstacles. But breakfast was like you just kept saying, Char, here's some breakfast ideas, just to start the day, right? And I might have fallen off the rails later on in the day, but I knew I always got back. And I think starting with the power of breakfast,
Yeah.
and I love it. Not the full feeling, but that satiated feeling was what was so nice with you.
So, really learning more about checking in with yourself and paying attention to how you feel and what you needed,
Yeah,
and even taking breaks in your day for meals. I think that was big for you.
it was great. It was great because and I think the interesting thing, Jenny, too, was that I was also traveling a ton when we started off and continued to travel. But so it was a lot of yo-yo.
Mhm.
And so you would just focus on some key staples.
You have had so many life changes really happen to you in the past couple years, which is a blessing and also things to navigate and learn from. So, what would you say that you learned the most over the past couple years from some of your challenges?
I think I had that, like probably so many of us, that love-hate relationship with a scale, right? And I was just brought up getting on one of four girls. It's how we were raised.
Yeah.
And I was getting so frustrated because it's that yo-yo again. But I think kind of what was really interesting, and as you know, we had some very stressful times in how my weight would go up 5 pounds, but I had stayed within I hadn't changed my diet was good.
Yeah.
And you were like, Charlotte, that's stress. And like the power of something like stress, and then the ability to forget about the scale, and the scale is just part of your toolkit, and I think it's my friend now. It's like, okay, you need to reset a little bit, or it's not the main thing. Stress was a big, that amazed me several times with you, and you were just like, that's stress. And then when I had my knee surgery and the Achilles, all of those physical issues, and again going all over the place, you were just like, your body's fighting to heal. It's holding fluids. It's not you. And then the knowledge of you helping me, kind of like, your body obviously needs the sleep to heal, but it also needs protein, which is what everybody supported, from whether it was physical therapy or the surgeons. So, and I wouldn't have known that. They would have said proteins and I would have been, uh-huh. And
Right.
with you, I was like, oh, okay, I've got this, I'll be fine.
And I think that's the biggest frustration I hear from people is that they don't understand like what's in food. Like, what is a protein? What is a carb? What is a fat? And we're just not taught that. There's nothing wrong with you. So,
What's a nutrient? I'll always go back to our nutrient conversation that October. And I'll be like, okay, because I was in a bad job, got a great new job. And then I think I could hear you or listen or whatever. And
yeah.
you have been telling me the same thing all along. I had no idea, obviously, what you were talking about until we kind of got through some hurdles.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that combination of the food and what your body needs and how we adjusted that throughout the process.
And how have you been able to navigate the travel piece? Because that's a huge part of your job and it's changed, your schedule changes pretty much
Yeah,
weekly. So how have you been able to navigate that so beautifully and, be able to pivot?
it's totally doable. Totally doable. But I would never have thought about it. Like when I pack my bag, I pack in my head my food as importantly as making sure I have something to wear.
That is the key right there,
Mm,
is that you're
yeah.
prioritizing it just as much as what your
Hmm.
outfits are going to be and
Yeah.
what your schedule is going to be with seeing clients. And that is the piece right there, is why you're so successful in so many aspects, because you're prioritizing it at the level that you are in other areas of your life.
Hmm. And I think the key thing for me, I think when you and I first started working together was that I was always so, played sports for a fair amount of years and was so physically motivated.
Yeah.
And then would just have those crashes of energy and not understanding why I was having those crashes and that was really true from a work perspective as well. And realizing that I needed to eat more, but more of the good food, not maybe what was right there in front of me, making like we all are trying to do, make the better choices, but
Yeah.
understanding what those choices are and the impact is great.
Yeah. So you're so much more aware now of what works for you and your
Hmm.
body, and can adapt that to the circumstances that you're in different parts of your life, whether you're traveling or, staying somewhere different than your house. And it's so cool to see that now. So how would
Yeah.
you say that your nutrition and health is now?
I think it's a journey, right? I've been with you for 2 years and I'm like, I would see people graduate and I'm like, oh, I'm not ready. I'm not going anywhere. And so I think my nutrition will always be a journey, but I think what I'm probably most proud about is that I feel like I know the structure and I know I love the structure that you and I put in place for my nutrition. And that if for whatever reason, whether it's a flight gets delayed and you have no food, and so you eat the airport mixed bag of whatever that stuff is on the plane, it's okay. It's all right. You didn't have fruit. It got, demolished through TSA. I don't know. I feel like that's probably the structure that I have. I know what we need, what my body needs, but also giving it a hall pass. If you can't make it, if it's not going to happen, that's okay too. And that's the beauty of you. Like you didn't be like, well, why did you eat that? You never say that, Jenny. You never say, why did you do that? But I think also, like I was thinking about it, Jenny, I think your suggestions, like I'm thinking about this 2-year journey, and one, like it was kind of a big deal for me to ask for help. I'm not really one that's very good at asking for help. And then I loved asking you for help because then it just kept happening throughout other pieces of my life, and that was really refreshing and also makes anybody feel better, I think, along with the nutrition. But I think the other things that worked for me were your suggestions and
Yeah.
just using maybe what worked for somebody else with me and vice versa. It was nice to know somebody else having similar challenges.
Yes, Charlotte, so many people struggle with the routine piece, and there's no one way. It's all about me giving you ideas and suggestions and options, and you choosing and experimenting what works, what doesn't. And we just have to figure out and trial different things. So, what helps you to overcome the fear that you mentioned of asking for help? Because I hear this from so many people, is just taking that step of, hey, like I need support and help with this in my life.
So that's an interesting question because I think it can be pervasive in your all aspects of your life. And I was not in a great place and in my head knew I needed something. I really think it was serendipitous. Like, and I didn't hesitate asking you for help because you were my yoga instructor and I loved, and so I got to see you in a different element and respected that you were, starting a business, which I think is tremendous. So I just felt like we could figure it out together.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why there is that fear. I guess you're just kind of brought up to succeed and carry on and, learn from what didn't and do it yourself. And I grew up in a big family, and I think I always had my sisters around. So you had that family to support you. But when you're out of that nuclear family, sometimes you need outside influencers to bring in different perspectives,
Yeah.
which is definitely which you had such an impact on me. I was like, I'm asking all these other people for help, and it's been great.
You have done this in so many other aspects of your life too, of saying like, hey, I need support with this area, because you support so many people too. And it's so important that you have that support as well.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. For me, it wasn't short term. So
Right.
I think that was nice that it wasn't like a short term solution. The approach that you take, it's not a diet, it's the food that you have in your closet and maybe shifting those foods around for the betterment of you.
Yeah.
Oh, everything was always for the betterment of you or your family or whatever your support structure is. And I think I just loved it was always a suggestion. It was never, you have to do this,
Right.
because then I feel like we all probably realize, like, oh, I only had 40 ounces of water yesterday. No wonder I don't feel great today. Your way of, yeah, helping us create that structure, but creating that structure, which can mean so many different things to so many people by the power of suggestion and ideas and
Mhm.
what works for you versus a strict, you have to eat this, whatever that is. I just think the flexibility of it was really tremendous for me.
And taking one thing at a time, one area,
Yeah.
one piece at a time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you can't even take one.
Yeah.
And you were aware of that.
And that's okay. It changes and adapts. And that's where the sustainability happens, when you take it
Mm-hmm.
slow, because you can actually maintain it
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
have confidence. So amazing to have, it's on my honor to have worked with you over the past 2 years, and to be so loyal and steadfast to your own health and goals is so admirable.
Well, it's our health,
Yeah.
right? So you have to take care of it, and we need help understanding what and I didn't understand it.
And now you do. And you're sharing that with so many other people in your life.
Absolutely. Yes.